Hey there, excited to have you on with me today. Hopefully you guys are enjoying beautiful weather where you are. We're enjoying beautiful weather for Montana winter. It is dumping snow and I think we've already gotten well over a foot. So in 24 hours. No, actually in 12. Anyway, I've got a great topic for you today, and that is how to recognize people and circumstances that can poison your success. How many of you have encountered people that delight in poisoning your belief? Or even, maybe they don't even know that they're doing it to you, but they delight in harming others and causing lack of belief and emotional derailment. It is something to pay attention to. And certainly if you haven't noticed this trend in our culture today, then time to pay attention, because you'll be more empowered in recognizing it and not being derailed yourself. So I have a little story for you, which is really good, and I think you'll appreciate it. So you ready to listen in? Go ahead and type a comment and say hello so I can see who's on with me. I think you're getting notified slowly. So if you are here, please click the share button and let your teams know that we are live and we're talking about a very important topic, and I've got a very great story to share with you now. So hi, hey Courtney, hey Stephanie, thanks for clicking the share button. All right, let's do this. Ready? This is great. Imagine that you and I, along with 20 others, are standing on the outer edge of a beautiful field. Green, 6-inch high wheat is blowing in a gentle breeze as far as the eye can see. It's sunny and 72 degrees. That sounds nice for me today, as it's only about 17 degrees. And a breathtaking rainbow arches in the distance. We have a tour guide who is responsible for assisting us on a 1-mile walk through the field. On the other side, at the bottom of the glorious rainbow, is the proverbial pot of gold with your name on it. Okay? Our guide hands each of us a pair of binoculars and suggests that we view the rainbow more closely through them. We discover that he is indeed telling the truth about the pot of gold. In fact, there are several pots, each containing $28 million. We also see a large group of well-dressed people who have already made the trek, and a number of expensive cars belonging to them are parked in a small lot nearby. Each person on the other side of the rainbow is smiling or waving, and several are holding up signs that say, "You can do it too, join us." The tour guide gives us simple instructions to cross the field as slowly or as rapidly as you wish, and then claim your $28 million pot of gold upon arrival. The field is 1 square mile. Initially, all of us stand around looking at each other in utter disbelief, until eventually one person takes off running, followed by several others. Suddenly, there are 2 small explosions. Those of us who haven't yet started across the field notice that there is a thick cloud of smoke. As we look on in horror, our guide says, "Oh, I neglected to mention that there are quite a few landmines buried in the field. It's possible that some of you may become amputees by making this trip. You may have noticed that some of the people on the other side are missing body parts, but I can promise you that nobody has died so far, and some got through without stepping on a mine. And those who did lose a limb or two claimed their $28 million prize." Isn't this a crazy story? So it's off to the races. How would you react? Probably most in the group would immediately walk away in shock, while others would stand reflectively and consider the odds. No doubt a few really bright ones would spend the time necessary to learn how to anticipate, recognize, and defuse the landmines before ever setting out. And those who choose to go across would make certain that the guide has a landmine expert who still had all of his limbs. Most of us probably wouldn't roll the dice and follow a person who had just gotten lucky and made it to the other side safely, regardless of how much we believed we too could blunder onto the same path he had taken. So, welcome to the wonderful world of network marketing. I'm reading to you from a book by Mark Yarnell, whom is an author that I absolutely love. But I want you to think about why do some people fail? They come into this business super successful, and then in their life outside of network marketing, but then they just fail. Why is that? Well, for one simple reason. Nobody warned them about the toxic landmines they'd encounter along the way or gave them a survival guide. Think about it. So they set out without the ability to anticipate, recognize, and overcome the obstacles they would inevitably face in their network marketing journey. As those of you who have followed me for very long know, I'm very transparent about the landmines we could face as we go, and always very honest with you in how I've built my business and the journey that I've been on, both personally and professionally. And that when we are honest with ourselves about the personal development required to build our business successfully, we can avoid these landmines, can't we? And there is big money at the end of the rainbow for you. But you've got to recognize the pitfalls along the way. Do you see that? What are you guys taking away from this story? Go ahead and comment. I want you to understand that millions of people, I'm still kind of referencing this book, millions of people will play 18 holes of golf this week. Many will show up with the best equipment money can buy. They will never attempt to join the PGA or go on tour, and no one will criticize them for having no desire to turn pro. Network marketing is very similar to this. A few people make the necessary sacrifices to earn the big bucks, but most are content to just enjoy the game. Those who do make it to the top of either profession, whether it's golfing or network marketing, must develop skills that the masses will never attempt to perfect, right? Or they allow toxic situations to derail them. So if you've made the decision that you're going to be at the top of your game, then are you willing to pay attention to the toxic landmines along the way? So first, there are landmines everywhere in this industry in the form of toxic people and circumstances. We all know this because it's a people business, right? And it doesn't matter if you work as a nurse at a hospital, there can be toxicity there. If you work as a teacher, which is my former career, there can be toxicity there. It doesn't matter. This can happen across the board because you're working with people. So going into network marketing, it's no different. But the cool thing is you get to work with the willing and the excited people that are going to have the focus of uplifting and inspiring and serving others, right? You don't have to get involved with the people that are gossipy, even if they're on your team. Yeah, you don't even have to be involved with them. You get to choose. So here we go. This is good. The reason no one is safe from these landmines is that they surface during each of 5 different steps. The further we progress in our recruiting process with our prospects, the more likely we are to miss the more well-camouflaged bombs. That's just human nature. We tend to ignore our potential bombs, which may appear because we want to protect our investment once we've invested more and more time with a given prospect. Scientists call this tendency loss aversion. You guys know, I love learning, so hopefully this isn't over your head. So are you enjoying it? Well, I guess if you are, you'll keep watching, and if you're not, you'll move on to something else on Facebook. And either way, it doesn't bother me. So some convince themselves that the company they've invested in will make a comeback, or, that's if the company is failing, which ours is not. As such, the more time a seasoned veteran invests in their new business associates, the more difficult it is to cut their losses and move on. Now, that doesn't really relate to us because we are the fastest growing network marketing company in the health and wellness space. But there are, for example, I was a 6-figure earner in a direct selling company, and I had to just get honest with myself that I had reached the top of my potential there and I needed to move on. So I walked away from 6 figures, went to 0, and started over in our company today. And it was the best decision ever, but it wasn't easy. It was worth it though, I'll tell you. But I had to recognize that there are toxic bombs along the way that would derail me from success here, right? So what is the first toxic bomb that we're talking about? Now, I'm sharing this with you because I believe that this can really help you in your journey in network marketing to success. And I love what he shares in this book. This is Mark Yarnell. He says the first bomb is the irrelevant minutia accessory. Do you know what that means? Irrelevant minutia accessory. Think about what that is. Basically, the way he explains it is that your phone is a tool designed to distract you, right? The bells and vibrations ding every time you get a notification, and it distracts you from what you're focusing on. And so basically, I'm going to encourage you all, if you are working on a goal, you need to communicate with people, right? And it is far better to do it in a focused way than allow your phone to distract you constantly from what you're meant to be doing. Set your phone to do not disturb. Go into your settings and turn off your notifications. You don't need your notifications to go off constantly. And if you're time blocking, if you've followed me for any length of time at all, you have seen how I teach time blocking, because that will help you focus. So here's your challenge. Are you ready for a challenge? Comment, I am ready, if you are ready. And type a 1 if you have found yourself being distracted by your phone, and then you're like, oh my gosh, I just wasted an hour. What happened, right? So here we go. The challenge is turn off your cell phone for a couple of hours each day and communicate directly with your prospects, whether it's your customers or your promoters, okay? Turn off the phone for a couple of hours a day. Now, of course, some of us, like myself, I don't have a house phone because I live in the country and we don't have a landline. So I have to use my cell phone when I'm smiling and dialing. But here's my trick. I can shut off my Wi-Fi, or I can resist the temptation to open those apps, right? Or I can put those social media apps on the last screen. You know, when you swipe on your phone, you put them on the last screen. So here's the thing. If you make the decision to get focused for 2 hours a day, if you're smiling and dialing and you're talking to your prospects, don't you think you'd move the needle on your business? Answer that question in the comments. I know that I move the needle on my business when I do that, which is partly why my business has been so successful, because I'm able to tune out the distractions. I am able to recognize what does distract me, and then I get honest with myself and set myself up for success by turning off the distractions. Do you see? Do you think you can do that? I know you can. And even if you have the same challenges that I do, who lives on a rural farm and does not have a landline? I'm sure some of you do. But even with whatever distractions you might have that could derail you, find a solution. Find a way around it, right? My solution is I put a social media folder on the last screen of my phone, and all those social media apps go there, okay? So that I'm not distracted. Because I know my tendency is I want to go hop into Facebook Messenger or onto Facebook and see if anyone is coming to me, because that's easier. And if that's easier, then guess what? I'm waiting for the business to come to me. I'm not being proactive. I'm being reactive. And no one creates a successful business by being reactive and not proactive. A proactive person gets out there and makes it happen, right? Okay. Here's the second toxic bomb. It's called the braying mule. You guys probably know this person. They're the person who stands outside of the network or outside of your business, right? And they shout all of the reasons at you why it's a horrible opportunity. Now, do any of you have horses or mules and you know how they are? They make a lot of noise. So these are the people in your life that make a lot of noise and are creating a lot of doubt in what you are doing. Newer people in our business need to recognize this toxic bomb, or you can be easily misled by their misconceptions, because they probably don't really know, do they? But they're very opinionated and often very negative. Usually they're very influential, so that's why you get derailed. So their problem is very straightforward. He or she needs structure and an external motivation. These braying mules respond to bosses, offices, quotas, and paychecks. They are extremely frightened by the notion of personal responsibility. Side note, our culture, I believe, conditions people to grow up and think like an employee, not an entrepreneur, right? So this is why this person has a lot of influence on you. Hey, Andrea. Worse, they are especially jealous of those who dare to become the racehorse. But instead of making the courageous decision to act like an entrepreneur and attempt to succeed through risk, sacrifice, and effort, mules often find comfort in hee-hawing at others who dare to dream. Have any of you faced people like this? Do you know what I'm talking about from a very real life experience? I sure do. I think it's common as well. Some mules believe that they can somehow elevate themselves by tearing down the racehorses. The good news is, once a new promoter is prepared to identify and avoid the mules, they will never be dragged down by them, because now you're empowered, right? Now you know that this is one of those toxic landmines that can blow up and try and derail you, but you're focused. Why does the racehorse wear the blinders, right? They wear the blinders so that nothing outside of what's ahead of them comes into their focus. Think about that. Are you wearing the blinders? Are you focused on your vision and your mission and doing what you want to do? If you're not, get the blinders on. Get clear on what your mission is. Get clear on what your daily method of operation is. Don't allow all of this distraction out here to derail you, whether that's the social media stuff on your phone or it's the negative people in your life that are trying to throw you off course because you going towards your dream makes them reflect and feel inadequate, when really you going towards your dream has nothing to do with how they should believe about themselves, right? So staying focused on that and moving forward, I think it's very important to recognize the dream stealers, right? When you first encounter such negative people, the only option is to get away quickly, right? Shut down the conversation. They are not only incapable of exceeding in our business, but they are actually take pleasure in causing chaos and inciting self-doubt among those of you who are trying to build a business, right? Do you see that now? And we don't need to worry about them because they're just going to do what they do. And if you shut it down and you're not available to it, they'll go off and bray and hee-haw at somebody else, okay? So let them do that by having a very clear boundary that you're not available for their feedback on this topic. There's nothing wrong with saying that. And then if you need to leave the room or get off the phone, by all means, your freedom is at stake, right? Toxic bomb number 3. Now, this one is called the neurologically inadequate. According to those who have dedicated their entire careers to brain mapping and neurologically medical studies, as many as 50% of all human beings are simply not cognitively hardwired to become entrepreneurs. They cannot and will not attempt network marketing. Can you imagine? Well, I would have thought that I fell into that group of people because I had a very clear limiting belief that network marketing would never work for me when I was first introduced to it. How many of you felt that way, right? So here's the thing. You don't know if someone is neurologically wired to be an entrepreneur or not unless you introduce the opportunity to them. So don't worry about it. Don't take it personally if they're not ready for it, right? It doesn't matter. It's not about you. And don't take it personally is something that I've shared many times in our mentoring groups that comes from agreement number 2 of the 4 agreements. Do you guys know that book? So good. So basically, I'm going to read a little blurb here that's really good. It's renowned Stanford psychologist Dr. Albert Bandura confirmed the notion for my partners and me when we spent an entire day with him in Palo Alto, California. We had his undividing attention for 8 hours, during which we learned a great deal about what leads to personal wealth and self-efficacy, right? Self-efficacy means a person who's empowered from within. What we found most interesting was the conclusion from his research that success is not just about personal choice, but also about specific neurological hardwiring. So what I want you to do is start to approach your business in knowing that there's going to be people that neurologically don't have the competency for building a network marketing business because they have to be an entrepreneur. Now, I will say this, you can set yourself up for success to become an entrepreneur by learning the skill sets and habits of those who are highly successful. Now, if you feel that desire and pull, there's all kinds of incredible books that will teach you how to do that. One of my favorites is the one about the The Habits of Highly Successful People. I think that's what it's called. By Brendon Burchard. It's his new book. Have you read it? That's an incredible book. And I can say that these skills can be learned because I am a result of learning them with intention, right? I would learn a new skill every day. I would journal about it, reflect about it. I'd spend at least 30 days creating a new habit in terms of the way that I think or the way that I work my business. How many of you all are that methodical in learning how to succeed? I am, because my freedom depends on it, right? My life depends on it. My legacy that I'm building for my kids depends on me showing up in that way. So I'm a dedicated and committed lifelong learner. And here's another statistic that's crazy. 3% of adults read more than 3 books after college. That's insane. Insane. So are you dedicated to learning? Right? Type this down. Leaders are readers. The more you read, the more successful you'll be. The more you implement and then reflect on what's working, what isn't working, the more successful you'll be. And when you learn something new, implement it immediately, okay? Plan, do, review. Plan it, sit down with your planner and put it on the calendar, do it, and then after some amount of time, review. How is it working? Is this good for me to apply to my business? Very, 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 very important, okay? Okay, so as a newer promoter, just accept that half the people you approach will say no because they have a very hard time seeing themselves operating as an entrepreneur. And that's normal, okay? That is normal. There's nothing wrong with you, and there's nothing wrong with the opportunity. There's nothing wrong with the products. Instead, just say, perfect, the business isn't for you. You're going to love these products. That's why we have a 10-to-1 ratio in our network of customers to promoters, because we are a customer acquisition company, right? And as such, we have more customers than we do promoters. I mean, that's a reflection of these statistics, right? Let me just look. So the next toxic bomb is called the social network meeting. Now, I got to get through this because I'm not exactly sure what this topic was. I don't remember this part. I think that part was that you decide that leaders that are running meetings are going to be the ones to train your new people. That's not true. What you want is to be the person who plugs your people into the resources, but don't just say there's a meeting in your area and that's how you'll get more information on how to build your business. Because really, you need to be the person that puts them on a 3-way call with their upline leader, logs them into the cloud office, shows them how to enroll a new customer or promoter, shows them where the vault is under leader updates, right? That's our Google Drive document organization system. And I want you to think about what are you doing with your newer promoter and how are you getting them plugged in, okay? Now, toxic bomb number 5 is the product expert. You do not need to know every single tiny detail to be successful in the business. You need to know how to take the 3 simple steps first thing in the morning. You need to know how to merge the prospect onto a 3-way call with an upline leader so that they can share their story and how to take the product, right? Now, the reason that this is important is because when people think they have to be a product expert, the problem is that they lose the ability to connect people with more information with people who know more about it than they do. And so make the decision today that you will be the messenger and not the message. Very important, because people have already formed an opinion about you, they just haven't told you yet. Type that in the comments. Also, click the share button if you have team members that will enjoy this. Okay, let's see. When we do our living room locals, for example, we keep them very simple, to the point, and duplicatable. So what that looks like is we invite people over, very short and sweet, maybe 45 minutes long, serve water, you don't need to serve drinks, etc. We are a wellness company, keep that in mind, so no alcohol needs to be served at our events. And then you're going to share what I call the 3 threes of le-vel, and that is 3 core products, right? Capsule, Lifestyle Mix, DFT, the 3 steps for the ideal Thrive experience. That is You take your capsule on an empty stomach with a full glass of water. You drink your lifestyle mix. 20 minutes later, your choice of liquid. You put the DFT on clean, dry skin. You're done for the day. And you want to drink more water and eliminate caffeine if possible that day. And then you repeat that again 24 hours later. Notice I didn't go into all of the ingredients details. And our founder has said that many times, that when you try to talk about the ingredients and the details and why or where they're sourced from, et cetera, like that overwhelms people, and it's very difficult for people to duplicate that. Okay? So go ahead and follow that simple 3 threes of le-vel that I just shared. If someone is bringing you three-way calls, or if you're doing locals, you really don't need to go into further detail. What I always do tell people though is if they have specific questions about a compensation plan or the ingredients, that what I believe they ought to do is spend some time looking it over, start their Thrive experience, see how they feel, and then I will connect them to somebody who knows more about it than I do. See? So I get them in a place of it being them getting educated a bit on their own first. Does that make sense? Do you guys do that? Okay. The toxic bomb number 6, the shortcut. You all, we see this all over Facebook. There are all kinds of ads right now running on Facebook from other network marketers and other companies who probably haven't made a lot of money there, trying to derail you and create doubt in your mind and make you think that this product won't sell, or your marketing methods aren't working, or blah, 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 whatever. Remember, any ad that you see, they're trying to sell you something. They want you to think they're doing it for free out of the goodness of their heart. But the truth is, they are selling you something. There are no shortcuts to success, right? You got to put in the time. You got to do the personal development work. You got to plan on your calendar. You gotta do the do to get the get. There are no shortcuts. I don't know why people just keep thinking there are shortcuts. Yes, I do know why. Why do you think people spend millions and millions of dollars on the lottery? Because they think that's a shortcut to getting rich. But here's what I've learned. The majority of people that win the lottery actually go bankrupt within 12 months because they haven't become the person who creates that kind of wealth in their life. And so then they lose it. Imagine. What would you do if you won the lottery? Let's see that in the comments. And do you believe there are shortcuts in your business? There might be. The shortcut might be that you take the time to identify that you are wasting time in some way, right? Or that you are compulsively checking your Facebook Messenger or Facebook app rather than actually doing the do to get the get. Yeah. You got to be willing to do more than the average person does to get more than the average person has. Think about that. There is no shortcut. You can't go buy somebody else's system and take their special training course and then become highly successful. Why would you buy that when they haven't even succeeded in our business? It doesn't make any sense, right? So think about this. People might offer, I'm reading again, people might offer to sell you shortcuts that appear so brilliant and simple to execute that it seems only a fool would decline to take them up on this. And as it turns out, many a fool has fallen for them. In hopes of preventing you from becoming one of them, let me tell you about a few of the very toxic shortcut mines some teams have stepped on. One is the infomercial shortcut. So basically this is, next there was the health fair booth followed by the fundraiser concept. Then there was the telemarketers and the wonderful phone room leads and the corporate Christmas gift plan and the behind the counter at the retail pharmacy plan. Then there's the Primo network downline geology list, the internet cartoon sites. After that, it was the $5,000 weekend network marketing camp and celebrity product endorsers. Not a single one worked. So remember, the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. The longest is zigzag, trying this and that, hoping that there's a shortcut. So basically what I'm referring to is sometimes you'll see ads and people will, in the ad, it'll say your upline doesn't want you to learn this. Like, that's BS, okay? We've tried what they're selling, it doesn't work. So beware. These shortcuts do not work. Network marketing requires that you establish a huge organization of dedicated entrepreneurs willing to work hard to move legitimate products or services to the consumer, right? There are no shortcuts in that process. It's difficult to convince new people to avoid the shortcut landmine because as their leader, you have no power over a volunteer army. And shortcut peddlers can be very seductive, and they spend a lot of money on their ads to influence the people that are in your network. Just tell your team members to only follow the leaders in your company upline. Okay? Remember this above all else, there are no shortcuts to dramatic wealth through networking. The only way to reap the benefits is to do the work required. That's proven time and again. And this book was even written ages ago before the newest modern methods of this shortcut were developed, very interestingly enough. Toxic bomb number 7 is getting stuck, getting started. There's nothing wrong with preparation, and there's certainly nothing wrong with being organized, but to achieve wealth and success in a profession, neither is required to the extreme. Let that sink in. Some people get stuck in getting started. Rather than going to work immediately, many networkers will study and research and listen to calls and read books, but then they don't actually do anything. Honestly, you all, the best advice I can give you is learn while doing. Learn while doing. Dedicate some time each day to learn, then do, then write in your journal your reflections on what worked and what didn't work. That is the very best angle that you can take in your business. Okay? You want to recruit individuals who are productive, not necessarily organized. Hello, raise your hand if that's you. Are you productive and not necessarily organized? I know that I'm not organized. In fact, you should see this office floor right now. Whoa. It's like a little bomb went off in here, and there's product everywhere, and my books and journals are everywhere, but guess what? I'm highly productive because when I sit down and I've got my planner that tells me what I need to do, I do it, right? I don't go into procrastination, I just do it. So make a list of your top 25 contacts today. That is the best piece of advice I can give you. Make a list of your top 25 contacts today. Now, these are the people that you're going to be reaching out to. Okay? And that will lead to momentum. All right, so I think I'm going to stop there. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this. I was reading from this book that I really love. It's by Mark Yarnell. I think he's a great, well, he's no longer with us, but awesome author. He made a lot of money in network marketing. And he's sold a lot of books on Amazon. Do you guys have any questions? Who's still on with me? Hello? Hello, hello. I'm just watching the snowfall, hanging out with you on Facebook Live. Okay, well, if you don't have any questions, I'll be signing off to go shovel some snow, unless my husband already did it, which he quite possibly could have. All right, drop a comment below. What did you learn? What really stood out at you today? Also, do you believe that people who have succeeded in our company were lucky, or do you believe that they worked hard for it? And in that vein of that question, if you believe they worked hard for it, then don't you also believe that you could learn what they did and implement it and build your business? I know you can. That's why we do this call, or I guess it's a live stream. So until we meet again, we'll take next Saturday off, and I don't even know what date the next Saturday is, but I'm going to take a look. But we're going to take the Saturday before Christmas off, and then we'll get back on track. Okay? Oh, sorry. The author is Mark Yarnell, and you'll love the book title, seriously. How to Become Filthy Stinking Rich Through Network Marketing. How to Become Filthy Stinking Rich Through Network Marketing. Such a good book, you all. Go buy it on Amazon today. Commit to reading one chapter a day. Write your reflections. Build your business, right? Because like I said, learn it, then implement it. Plan, do, review. I just think his book is so great. And there's a lot of things that really apply. I would say 90 to 95% of what's in this book applies to what we're doing here. And part 2 is called Your Acceleration Toolkit, the First 90 Days, Why Some Don't Make It and How to Be One Who Does. Who doesn't need that roadmap? So I read to you today from that chapter. So you already have one chapter done. How great is that? All right, you all. We'll talk to you soon. You have a wonderful day and a Merry Christmas, and I love ya. Love you lots from snowy Montana, and I mean snowy. Okay, talk to you soon.